Welcome to the first JustRPG Podcast. I'm James, and I am joined today with Jim.
Hi guys.
All right, why don't we start out with some introductions? Jim, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'm Jim. I go by Jex online. I've been playing video games all my life, and I love RPGs. I love video games. A lot of them.
Yay, who doesn't?
A
All
lot of
right.
people.
Oh, I guess so, yeah. Well, I'm James. I go by Mogarth or Mog online a lot. I've been playing video games since my dad first got me original Game Boy. I'm a big RPG fan. So, all right, why don't we get started?
All right.
Um, okay, what is your favorite RPG?
My favorite RPG.
Your favorite RPG?
Wow.
Your number
Starting with the
one.
big guns, yeah.
The Big Kahuna.
Uh, that's a tough one. I had a lot of fun with Skies of Arcadia. A lot of GameCube, actually, even though
It's a
it's
good
not known
game.
for its RPGs. Probably
hmm
like Tales of Symphonia, Skies of Arcadia. Um, those two like really stick out to me, I guess, the most, actually,
Those
more
were
than anything
some
else.
pretty good ones. All right.
Yeah, I can't really think of too much else.
My favorite was, well, I played a lot of Tales of Symphonia as well. Skies of Arcadia I played on Dreamcast, but my favorite, which I actually played later, believe it or not, it's kind of weird because it's an older game, is Final Fantasy 3 or 6.
Right.
Um, 3 on the Super Nintendo, 6 in Japan or whatever, and everything else it was 6. That one, I first played it on the PSP with the Super Nintendo emulator on my PSP,
Huh.
and I couldn't put that down. I beat it through. I did every bonus thing. I just couldn't stop playing that game. So
Yeah,
yeah, again, it wasn't
definitely
my
a good one.
first but it was definitely my favorite of all time.
Right. And you recently just picked that up, didn't you?
Yes, that was a Goodwill pickup. Got that for
Yeah.
$15 Goodwill, pristine
You
condition.
son of a bitch.
That
Can we curse?
yeah, we could curse.
Okay,
Th-
good.
That
Fuck
that
it.
brings up another topic. We're actually both game collectors. Um, Jim here has been doing it for a little longer than me. I've been doing it for maybe a year. But Jim, how long? Maybe definitely more than a year, right? You've been a couple
Yeah,
years.
probably like 2 or 3 at least. I mean, like serious collecting. I've always like owned video games,
Yeah.
but actually going to these stores, going to Goodwill, just looking for video games, probably
hmm
last like 2 or 3 years, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Didn't
more of a
start too
newcomer.
strong.
I think it's been a year. It might not even have been a year.
I feel like you were like around Christmas time, which now it's August, so almost a year. Probably around then.
Yeah, that's probably right. Now, like again, I've always had video games, but I was kind of more into kind of liquidating them, and I'm like, oh, I'll just play on PC. I'll just get the emulator or whatever. But now I'm kind of back to the
Oh yeah, now
I
you're
want the
full
game.
swing.
Yeah,
You used to always tell me like, why do you buy DS games? Why don't you just download them or 3DS games?
yeah.
Because you take it with you, you can play with anything you want, and it made sense. But I always had a hard time doing that. I didn't really have a reason for it too. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
I mean, sometimes I think to myself, like, wait, why did I just buy this DS game? I can just download it and just play it on flash card. It works,
I know.
But there's just something about it, like something It feels
Yeah.
cool to own it. It feels cool to like have the box on the shelf, and I don't know.
No,
It's
I know.
not like I plan on reselling, or either of us do, and making money at the end. It's kind of just like a fun
Nope.
hobby that you
Yeah.
can play.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like stamp collecting, but you can play them. Yeah. Well, your collection is definitely different from what I have. Kind of target different games. For example, you have a ton of GameCube games. I have maybe 30. How many do you have now?
I don't know, probably over 150.
And there's not too many GameCube games, which is pretty
There's like
impressive.
just less than 700, but close to it. Yeah.
And a lot of that's shovelware too, right? Like Bionicle and
Yeah, I mean, a
Bratz
lot
and
of it. There's plenty of Madden and all the sports games and stuff.
yeah.
But I mean, honestly, GameCube doesn't have a whole lot of shovelware. Even like
Oh,
like Disney Pixar's Cars is a pretty good game, and it came out on everything. But
I mean that's another thing with this collecting. Like since Wii games are so cheap now, we both kind of picked up a lot of Wii games, and games that I just assumed were shovelware are just not. They're actually like really good. Like for example, Speed
sure,
Racer. Speed Racer
Sure.
is an awesome, trippy game.
Yeah, no, I
Really
love
fun
Speed
to play.
Racer.
What's
That
a
came
what's
out
a?
on PS2 also, though.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's got a shiny cover as well, which is always nice.
Well, don't. Does yours have a shiny cover? Because mine
No,
does.
mine does not. So
Ah,
there's multiple. I think you actually gave me the copy, but
it's like $1.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of good games out there, not just on Wii. Anything that you wouldn't think were good. You know, a lot of movie-based games. Movie-based games get a bad rap, but really, a lot of them are pretty good.
Yeah, again, you would never know unless you just happened to pick one up and threw it in.
It's a lot easier on like the Wii and even PS3 and Xbox 360 right now.
Yeah, they're also
To pick
pretty
up
cheap
these
in the
cheap
store.
games for $2. Just take a shot. You know, play it for maybe 20 minutes and decide if it's worth continuing.
Yeah, it's another thing. If it's a $3 game, I never feel like I'm really wasting my money. Like I put it in, it's horrible, whatever. It was still kind of worth the $3. I can always like, if I really wanted to, I could resell on eBay. The shipping is gonna be $3. You know, I'm not gonna. I'm not. It's not like I'm.
You're not gonna lose a whole lot of
Yeah.
money.
You lose like your listing fees worth, but you really can't go wrong with a cheap game like that.
Hmm.
But all right, why don't we move to the next topic? Um,
What was that last topic?
the last topic.
Yeah.
What did it start as? You mean it was
Yeah.
was your first RPG, your favorite? Oh, and then we moved
Okay.
into collecting. Okay, okay. Moved into collecting, all that. Oh yeah. So let's go back to that then. For my collection, I instead of GameCube, because really I see Jim here pretty often. Go to his place, we hang out, touch wieners, typical stuff.
He
But
calls
since,
the Dockers.
since he has at least like 150 GameCube games, I kind of didn't really focus on GameCube. Instead, I have a lot of N64. I have like 115 or so N64 games. I have a lot more handheld than him, or different handheld
Yeah.
games, and I kind of focus more on Sony. I have a lot of PS2. You also have a lot of original Nintendo NES games too. Right?
Yeah,
Like 100 or
definitely.
something like that.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of got into the older carts besides N64, like NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis. Recently, I just picked up a Retron 3, which can now play those. So now I'm kind of picking up, those kind of games, which he already had. So again, our collections are a little different. But if
I mean, I
we
kind
were
of
to,
started with NES, so yeah. I have a lot
Yeah.
of those.
and those half of those are cheap, half of those anything that's good, pretty expensive. But
Yeah,
you
now
can
they
find
are.
some stuff in there for reasonable price. All right, now that we've talked about our collections, now let's move on.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of talk online and actually major online publications about the NX. Um, what we know about it so far is again these were all rumors, but they've been more or less confirmed, not by Nintendo, but by multiple sources. So I'd be very surprised if these weren't at least mostly true. We
Yeah, or
know
something
that,
similar to them.
yeah, we know that it's going to be a hybrid. It's going to be a handheld and home console hybrid. That I think is pretty much confirmed. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't that at this point. I think like Nintendo would have
Yeah.
kind of been like, "Whoa, calm down, guys. It's not this." But
Right.
they've kind of let it go.
I mean, that could just be Nintendo. Who knows?
Yeah, again, these are all rumors, but the general consensus is a hybrid console, handheld, and home console.
Right.
Um,
And it somehow like communicates with your TV to just, and it runs the games off itself. Is that
Alright,
what I'm
so
understanding?
this is also what's confirmed. It's most again these are what the rumors. If one of these is true, then they're most likely mostly true. It's going to take carts. I would assume something along the lines of a either 3DS or a Vita like
Right.
cart. I mean, if the Vita can do it, then I guess it's possible, right? The Vita can
Right.
do it on a pretty small cart. It's basically just flash drive, but
Yeah, it's just like an SD card. Basically.
exactly. So that's what they've said. They said it's this hybrid. Then I've seen numerous sketches, which obviously aren't confirmed, but the concept is there. It's a screen, right? And then it has these two detachable controller parts. Now, that sounds very weird, but I've seen tons of sketches online, and some of them look pretty good. Like, all right, that kind of helped me like visualize how it could work. At first,
Right.
I was like, "Wait, what? What are you thinking here?" But after seeing
Right.
some sketches, I'm like, "Okay, I can see how
You
this
can
could
see how
work."
it works.
If I had to guess, I would say like we're gonna see something like 3DS analog sticks on there.
That
Hopefully,
scares me.
I see. I like them. They're just not as durable. I hope that gets a little. If they go that route, maybe improve them a little. But they work. They're just they seem to break. But whatever.
Mhm.
I can forgive that if the whole thing works as a whole. But there's that, and then the whole concept that they detach. That's probably the hardest to swallow. That like
I still don't get why they detach.
that seems weird. It really does seem weird. Is it a motion control
Ugh.
reason? Like, is it okay? These detach and they're Wiimotes, or
Just to make
it's
it
really
different than
not.
the gamepad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they would do that, but they're kind of 50-50 on these things.
So far.
Like the Wii U gamepad, the concept was there, didn't really work in reality. Like, it's okay,
Right.
it's cool with some games, but like it's not worth it. It doesn't warrant its size and manufacturing cost by any means.
No. I
But
mean, that's probably a lot to the game's not. Publishers just didn't make games that can utilize it properly.
then on the other hand, we have the Wii, which has a ton of games, right?
Sure.
And okay, maybe not motion control. Maybe motion controls aren't the best in every game, but it does work. It does work for quite a few games, and there's quite a few good games on the Wii that
They use
utilize
motion
it.
controls. Yeah.
Now, it might not target the most hardcore gamer, but it does work. And really, they were the only ones, the first ones and the only ones to really make that work. We have the Kinect for the actual. It just doesn't work. That was a miserable failure. The whole PlayStation Eye and PlayStation Move thing that doesn't work at all. Like really, Nintendo's the only
I
one who's
mean,
been able to do it.
it's not like it's better on Nintendo. It's just they made it first and
I
they made
think
it
it's
popular.
more than that. I think they made it and then they stuck with it and improved upon it. Like I think that what we saw for Xbox and PlayStation was kind of in response to
Oh,
the
yeah,
Wii's
definitely.
success. They're like, "Whoa, Nintendo did this. It worked. Everyone's buying it for Wii Sports. Let's make a Wii Sports. Let's make something that can
That's what
use
it was. They
these."
kind of just made their own Wii Sports and their own like whatever games, that were like the Wii. But everyone already played Wii Sports. Everyone already had a Wii that was interested in that kind of motion stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, I definitely agree. I think they missed the boat. Like they not missed the boat, but they kind of just tried to do the same thing, and it just didn't work as well. That's kind of
Didn't
how I
work
see
out
it.
for them. Yeah.
I mean, you've used the Kinect before, haven't you?
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I
doesn't
have.
work. It
I
just
mean, it's
doesn't work.
okay. It works all right. It's just it's not like you're not holding anything. You don't feel like you're really controlling it. I feel it was a little. You feel disconnected.
Yeah, the Wii seems pretty when you're holding the Wii, you're like, okay, these are motion controls that are working. I'm swinging this tennis racket. I'm hitting the ball.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know. Well,
feel like. Yeah.
either way, that's an example of a success, like a innovation that became a success for Nintendo, and opposed to the Wii U gamepad, which really wasn't. Again, it doesn't hurt to have that gamepad, like in terms of
Small.
gameplay, but in terms of manufacturing costs, like why'd they bother? They made
Right.
this big thing that must be expensive to do.
Yeah.
They must have lost money on console sales because of that gamepad, and
Yeah.
it never feels like it was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the gamepad. I like if they
Yeah.
made more games for it, I would use it. I don't have to use it. I still like it as a controller, but it definitely held the Wii U back as a console. Like people just didn't. There's no games for it. There's not a lot of games for it, I should say.
So
And, yeah, 'cause no one bought it.
with what we know for the NX, like this hybrid, it most likely going to use kind of a unique controls scheme or something like that. Do you think people are going to develop for it? Like, I'm
Like
sure
publishers?
Nintendo. Yeah, I'm sure Nintendo has already made some deals. Like, okay, we're going to get this, we're going to get this, we have our games, we're going to put these on. But do you think, like, third-party developers are willing to make games for the NX? That's kind of the reason why the Vita didn't do well, is because they couldn't get people to make games for it. So do you
I
think
it's
that's
gonna
going
be
to
like
happen for the NX, and we're just going to see Nintendo games, or?
Yeah, it's gonna be like that. We're just gonna see Nintendo games. It's gonna be like another Wii U, basically.
I mean, my instinct definitely is similar to your opinion. I think that's probably what's going to happen. I hope it's not. I hope it's more like the Wii, and they're like, "Oh crap, this works, and people are loving it. Let's put something on." But my instinct tells me that's not going to be the case. I think it's going to be more of a very slow start, and kind of like, okay, hopefully they can get some people on board. But I think it's almost doomed. It depends. It depends on how unique those controls are, and if you have to use them or not. You know
I'm hoping there's no control gimmick. Like, I'm hoping there's no motion control. There's no anything like that to separate it from like a normal, 3DS or a console or something like that. Because then you'd actually get ports and stuff like that, publishers making things for it.
I mean, I think they can do well by just. I think it's a step in the right direction for Nintendo. Like, basically make a 3DS that I can project to the TV, that doesn't have a two-screen issue like the 3DS did. I'm assuming that's why they never did that, is because it's two screens and it won't look good on the TV. And
I feel like that's what they wanted. Like, that was like, all right, when Nintendo was first conceptualizing the Wii U, they kind of thought, all right, we need to make a way of playing 3DS on the TV, so we'll have a screen on the controller. And they realized that didn't work, and they just kind of stuck with the controller and the screen thing, and we get the Wii U.
I mean, again, with the Wii U, can you think of one game that really used the gamepad well, and that like wouldn't be a good game without the gamepad? I really can't think of any. Like,
besides Nintendo Land, no.
And really, Nintendo Land wasn't a great game anyway.
No.
But like, okay, the having the map on there is cool. It's better than not having it. But like, again, is it worth that money? And all, I think that was really the issue.
And it's just like kind of cumbersome to deal with. It runs out of batteries really quickly.
Yeah,
big.
It's heavy.
Yeah, you can't really just like leave it on beside the couch. It's expensive. You don't want to step on it or something or break it. Yeah, kind of a hassle altogether.
Now, what I picture for the NX is a working Wii U concept kind of realized. Like, okay, let's take this gamepad, let you take it with you on the airplane, let you take it to your friend's house, you can play it, and when you get home, you can kind of reconnect to your TV and continue playing. That's kind of what I see.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what I hope for the Wii U. I was kind of surprised that it wasn't that. So maybe this NX is going to be that, and it will work, and everything will be great. But I'm still skeptical.
Wii U too. Right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of NX, there's another piece of news that's worth discussing, and that's the announcement of Dragon Quest XI for the system. Now, this is also going to be on 3DS and PS4, but it has also been confirmed in an interview recently with the creators that it will be coming to the NX. Now, this is an RPG. This is something we should be excited about. Are you? Are you excited about this? Is this something that you think?
I'm not. I don't look at it as a way of like, saying what the NX is going to be, because it's coming out for 3DS and PS4, which are totally different spec-wise. So I'm not really expecting it to be a gorgeous game on a Nintendo console. Not like I'm not expecting the NX to have PS4 specs.
Me neither, but remember, it's also running on 3DS.
Exactly, that's why.
I mean, if this is something in between, that's another thing we should have mentioned with the NX. They also came out and said it's not going to look as good as the PS4
of course.
And the Xbox One. So it's going to be kind of an in-between. Hopefully better than the Wii U, but again, that's not confirmed. Nothing's confirmed.
I mean, the Wii U looks fine. I don't really have any complaints about it.
It does, but I don't think either of us are real big sticklers for graphics.
No, but like, I can still tell if like a game missed its mark in the art department.
So I kind of see that happen on 3DS sometimes. Like,
Yeah, definitely
it
on
looks a little
3DS.
off, but I
It's the
mean,
system
don't
holding it
get me wrong.
back.
I love the 3DS. It's one of my favorite current gen systems.
Yeah, but it's weak.
It is. It is. But I mean, Dragon Quest is a big, especially in Japan, a big RPG name.
Sure.
I think this could be something that could get people excited for the NX. Like, we've seen some videos for this game, and it looks beautiful. But again, it might not be the same graphics, but
I mean,
it
it's
looks cool.
cel shaded, so
It's got
it's easy.
Akira Toriyama's art style, which is, I'm already sold. But it looks like it could be a game that's worth getting into. But the problem I see is it's coming. The announcement for the NX doesn't really mean much because we don't know what it is. If it were like, okay, this is the NX and it's got this game, I can be like, yeah, I'm super excited about Dragon Quest comes in. Can't wait to get an NX. But since I don't know what it is, it's kind of like I feel like it's lost hype.
Sure.
Like if the NX had already been officially announced, here's an image, this is what it is, this is what you can do with it, and it's coming with Dragon Quest 11, I'd be like, hell yeah. But since I don't really know what the NX is, I'm more like trying to figure that out than I am becoming
Right.
hyped about this new game that might be playable on it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming out for 3DS and PS4, so like, I don't really see much of a reason of getting hyped for the NX version at all. And it doesn't really tell us much about what the NX is because it's coming out on two completely different platforms. So really, it's news, but it's not very helpful news for the NX anyway.
I think with this, the only thing this really does is it kind of gives us that initial library. We're like, okay, we're getting Breath of the Wild, we're getting Dragon Quest, we're getting whatever. At least we know there's something coming out. We know that someone's willing to develop for it and put it there.
Yeah, at least one third party is on board so far.
Yeah, and I mean they've kind of Dragon Quest has kind of been on PlayStation, it's been on Nintendo, it's kind of been all over. So this is kind of, especially in Japan, I think this should be big news. But again, because they haven't shown the NX, I don't know, it's kind of like lost.
Yeah, exactly. It's not big for Nintendo. It's not big for the NX. This news that it's coming out for the NX.
Something else that should be mentioned is that U.S. release dates have not been officially announced for this game, and this is happening with Dragon Quest. There's basically in the U.S. we got Final Fantasy Online, Final Fantasy 14, right? Good online game. And at the same time in Japan, more or less the same time, they got the Dragon Quest Online, and for them it was like a big deal, all that stuff. But it never came here. They just kind of never announced it was coming here and just never did.
Okay.
So that could happen with this too, which would be a major disappointment after seeing this. Like, okay, it's gonna be an NX, but now it's not even coming at all. You know?
Right.
It could have kind of the opposite effect.
I totally doubt it. It would be coming here.
You doubt it's gonna come here?
No, I doubt it wouldn't come here. Sorry.
Okay, so you think we're gonna get it? I mean, I really hope so. Dragon Quest is a series that like I've never truly gotten that into because it's not available. Like I have Dragon Quest 8 on PS2. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love that turn-based combat. I like the game a lot. But there's really very few other US Dragon Quest games. So I can't kind of like with Final Fantasy I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm into this." I can kind of hop to the next one and continue playing. I can't do that with Dragon Quest really. But hopefully that changes. Hopefully they start bringing it here. Maybe this comes out, it does well, sells some copies. Like, I guess people in the U.S. do want this.
Well, I think Sword sold pretty well. That got pretty popular.
Which one is that?
It's the one for, I think it was on Wii also, actually.
Oh, I don't know about this.
Really?
Yeah, I've
Dragon
not heard of this.
Oh, jeez.
I should look into this.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that was pretty popular. It came out on like multiple platforms. And
I've seen this art before. I don't know anything about the game though. I've seen the cover though.
I haven't played it, but I think I don't see it not coming here anymore. Like I think we'll get every Dragon Quest game from now on.
I'm assuming this Swords came out before this online one came out, which we didn't get. So I mean, we did get that Dynasty Warriors Dragon Quest on I think it's PS4 only, maybe PS3 download shop only, something like that.
Yeah.
But that did come here. And I guess that's probably the most recent, maybe except for this online one. But I mean, I hope Dragon Quest does come to the U.S. I hope it becomes more of a big deal, and we can expect to see more in the future. That would be great. I'm never against more RPGs coming here.
Sure.
All right, I think we've talked enough about Dragon Quest XI and the NX. Why don't we move on to some different questions?
All right.
All right, so for this segment, I say we're going to talk about some kind of general RPG questions, kind of pick each other's brains on these issues and see where we stand. So I'll start out. Why don't we rotate, and I'll go first here. So speaking of Dragon Quest, it usually has turn-based combat. Do you like turn-based combat? Do you think it's kind of an outdated feature that should be replaced with action RPGs? Because if you look at what's coming out soon, like that Final Fantasy VII game that's coming out, is like a reimagined game in action RPG form.
Right.
The original was turn-based. It seems like, I don't know, do people not want turn-based anymore? And they're like, okay, we need something more action-y for this new crowd? Or do you think it's still relevant? Do you still enjoy turn-based combat?
I mean, I always preferred action RPGs, but I have nothing against turn-based RPGs. I definitely like a lot of turn-based RPGs. And I don't think they're irrelevant or outdated at all. I don't know why anyone would think that.
Well, for
There's
me,
a lot of depth to the games, yeah.
I actually prefer turn-based combat. I think that there's more room for strategy in turn-based combat. You can kind of okay, I have 4 characters. I know their relative speed probably compared to the enemy. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get hit. I'm going to heal with this character. I'm going to buff with this character. And then these two are going to hit this order, and I'm going to do this damage. I kind of...
It's a whole different kind of gameplay. That's certainly not outdated.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I definitely agree. I hope that there's more. I just have seen less turn-based RPGs come out in more recent times. I've seen ports, sure, but
see, I don't when Bravely Default came out. It was so generic turn-based. There was no extra hook or anything like that.
Well, there was a extra hook in that. I like that game.
What?
You didn't like that game. It's
No.
You can store your turns.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's right.
Basically, if you block instead of attack, then you're another character can use that turn, and you can kind of unleash more powerful attacks. You can do how you always have in those kind of games. You have one character that just does more damage than everyone else, right? You always have that one character that you're
Right.
This is my hard hitter. You can kind of say you have a healer, and you have this character. You don't need the healing. You're not going to need it. So instead of just attacking with your healer and doing 10 damage, you can block with that healer and give that attack to that hard hitter. Now there are ways that you don't actually have to block and do it. You can kind of you can take them out in advance and then you have to block after, but there was a gimmick there. I mean the gimmick wasn't super compelling, but I thought it worked. It sold well too.
It wasn't as much as I was expecting, and I kind of was turned off.
Well,
but I did like that. It let you change the difficulty on the fly and gain more XP or less XP or whatever.
Yeah, that was also kind of unique with that. But that kind of supports what I said before. I think instead of just making a turn-based RPG with a decent story, it did have a decent story. It wasn't just this combat system that sold the game. Right, there were other parts of it that were appealing. It kind of feels like they thought that they had to make this new gimmick in order to sell them. I wonder if that was the case. Okay, we can't just do regular turn-based. People don't want that. Let's make this twist on turn-based.
Well, what was the last major release turn-based game to come out where they were thinking this?
That's a good question. I
don't
know. I mean, Bravely Default was one, and they made a sequel. But what's come out since?
Popular. I mean, what came out before Bravely Default that was turn-based?
I mean, if I'm drawing a blank here. I can't think of many. Like we get like major RPGs. We get the Tales games. They're all action RPGs in a way.
I wonder if they were like Final Fantasy. I mean, Final Fantasy 13 sold very well, but I don't think it was very well received. And that was turn-based, and I wonder if they kind of... I mean, that was a stale game in a lot of other regards, so I wondered if they kind of looked at that and said, people are getting tired of this.
Yeah, we need to mix it up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, like every game before that was turn-based and it wasn't an issue. They put that out. It is an issue. Okay, we need to jazz it up a bit. We need to make this... Well, let's make the MMO, and then let's make 15, which just looks like an action RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see in the future if they come out with any true turn-based RPGs again.
Well, Persona 5 is going to come out, and that's going to be very turn-based still.
That's true. I mean, Persona, I always thought the combat was weak in that game, but anyway, I mean, it was kind of entertaining, but it was also a little lackluster.
Yeah.
That game's more focused on the not combat aspects, like
the social
and or like more role playing aspect. I don't know. But,
agreed.
Yeah, that's a good. I don't know. We'll see in the future. See if we get more turn based. See, I kind of like it. Besides for the strategy, it's kind of like low pressure. Like I can kind of like I can do one turn. I get halfway through the turn. I can drop the controller. I can go upstairs and make a sandwich and come back down. And it's where I left off. So
you're talking about like very traditional, like not Final Fantasy 7. That's not what you're talking about.
Well, usually I don't remember in Final Fantasy 7 you could, but that's like an active. Well, let's move to that question then. Okay, active and wait time combat systems in these RPGs. Like for example, Chrono Trigger might not look like your standard turn-based RPG, but it kind of is. There's positioning involved, but that gave you the choice. Do you want to have an active combat system, or do you want it to basically pause when it's your turn to choose?
Right.
In that example, I thought it didn't matter. I'm like, who cares? Like, basically, they only give the option, so, like, if you don't pick active, your friends will make fun of you. Like, oh, you picked wait, you're a pussy. You know? Like, that's really the only, like, goal to that I saw.
No.
I don't thought it enhanced the game by having an active weight choice. It should have just kind of been one or the other. I
don't like the weight choice thing. I don't like that Final Fantasy 7 style too much.
So I always found it weird. Like, either give me the time to develop the strategy or don't. Don't let me choose. Just kind of like, let's just do one or the other.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck in between. It's a little awkward.
So personally, I prefer the game pauses when you're making decisions. I like that. Again, because I can just kind of go upstairs and put the controller down. I don't really, I don't have to worry about it. It's no rush. It's kind of like Pokemon. Pokemon has a complete wait system. It never pressures you to make a decision. You can spend 2 days choosing which move you're going to use, and the game doesn't care.
Right.
I like that. I don't like when it's like, okay, if you don't make a choice, you're going to keep getting attacked.
But you're not talking about like action RPGs, even like Tales.
No. I'm talking about in these turn-based RPGs.
Right.
When they either have a wait or an active system. So basically,
I don't like that too much.
Which one don't you like?
Like wait systems, or I'm sorry, active systems.
So you do like when it pauses.
Yeah, I'd rather have like a Golden Sun over a Chrono Trigger system.
Yeah, again, I don't see what the appeal is to making your choice time shorter.
I guess it adds a little edge to it. Kind of makes you on your feet.
I guess it just always felt inconvenient to me. Well, I guess to each his own. Maybe Chrono Trigger did the best. Let him choose. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we move on to the next? I think we've exhausted this topic. Here's a big one. Some games, when you're RPGs, when you're playing, there'll be cutscenes, and on some games you cannot skip them. Do you think that ever has any benefit?
No, I don't play games for the story. Even in like the best of RPGs, I am spamming the A button or X button or whatever trying to get through this every single cutscene, so I don't care what's going on in the story.
See, I always think they should give you the option. Always give you the option to skip. If you don't want to do it, you've already played it. You don't want to watch it again. You know? But I kind of disagree. I do, in some cases, care about the story. If I'm playing, like, Pokemon, I'm not reading anything. But if I'm playing, like for example, Final Fantasy 3 for Super Nintendo, I do care. I want to read it.
I don't care enough to read it. Like, I care. I want to get the gist of it. I want to know why they're going to wherever they're going and why they're killing whoever they're killing. But I don't want all the details. I don't want to read everything. I just kind of want to get it all on with it.
So I think it's only worth if the game itself is good. The story is good. There's some twists you like it's compelling. Then the story's worth doing. If it's not, then I'm just skipping. I'm just spamming A to get past it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think, especially for the fact if you're not playing the game for the first time, playing the game for like your second or third time, and you have to sit there, it just kills it. It makes me never want to play the game again. If I can't skip the cutscene.
Yeah, I mean, RPGs are kind of hard to pick up in general. Like, you have to really commit to them. And to know what lies ahead of you are just unskippable cutscenes.
It's definitely a deterrent.
It's tough. Yeah, it's definitely tough.
And I would say, like, okay, you beat the game and it unlocks skippable cutscene mode, but why? If someone wants to skip it, let them skip it.
What game does that?
I know, I'm just saying, like, as an idea, like, okay, you beat the game, now we know you're playing for the second time, now you can skip. But no, like, why not just always give the option?
I mean, most games now have skippable cutscenes.
I mean, I've played quite a few. For example, we played Monster Hunter recently. There's like a 5-minute intro that you just can't skip, and they're not showing you anything.
I know.
You don't read a single word of text that entire game. Like, why have an unskippable intro? You know, I never understood that.
I also hate when, like, there's a cutscene and you can skip it, but then there's another kind of cutscene. It's not like pre-rendered. It's like actual in-game stuff that you can't skip. But it's still a continuation of that cutscene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like a text cutscene in-game. Instead of, like, animated, here's a 2-minute anime. You know, it's like it just kind of does it through the chat box.
I mean, not really. No, I mean, like, instead of having like a cutscene where it's a pre-rendered video that's just, you know, being shown to you, they have like the actual in-game models walking around.
Oh yeah,
just talking.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Which, yeah, I guess you're right. It's just a bunch of text usually, or they're asking you to follow you somewhere. I was just playing DSX, and you have to follow this lady throughout the whole building. I mean, and she's just talking to you.
If I'm willing to read it, I don't mind those. But if I'm not willing to read it, then I hate those because I'm like, okay, I skipped the last cutscene, but I can't skip this one. It's kind of frustrating, you know. But yeah, I mean those are kind of hard to skip though. If you're gonna do that, it's kind of, I don't know, breaks it up a little bit too much.
I mean, the only cutscenes I like are like in Persona, especially. They have a lot of anime, like straight up hand drawn anime. I'll watch that.
Yeah,
but it's usually very little story.
Well, I guess you've kind of answered the next question too. Is some games, for example, like Chrono Cross, Kingdom Hearts, stuff like that, they have like complex storylines, ones that are like trying to make you think and like, oh, here's the twist, kind of stuff. Opposed to like some games are just like, here you go, here's the boss, oh, he looks cool. Well,
get the princess.
Some games are like very complex that you don't really understand your first playthrough, and you kind of have to replay and like, oh, I missed that last time. Oh, now I get why this character did this. You know, I guess you're not a fan of that then, or are you?
See, it depends. I like the stuff, like Persona is a good example. I really like the stories in Persona because it's almost like you're watching an anime, like you're watching like a Death Note, so you want to know what's going on in the TV world or at midnight or something.
Yeah, Persona kind of has that feel. Like, have you ever played Kingdom Hearts, for example?
Yeah.
You know, Kingdom Hearts is like...
I don't remember it being a complex story too much.
I remember it being
But I
very
was skipping everything, so.
mysterious. Like, you don't really know what's going on. You don't know your rival. Remember the guy? I forget his name. Something with an R. He's on the island with you in the beginning.
Yeah, I
And
remember
then he kind of like disappears, and he almost becomes like a villain. And you're kind of like wondering like what's the deal with him, and they don't really tell you. And that's kind of a trend that went on throughout the series. Like they're working on Kingdom Hearts 3, but Kingdom Hearts 2 like that continued, and in the Chain of Memories that continued, and it kind of like those sequels kind of fill in the blanks and make one super complex overarching storyline.
I think that's a big turnoff when I have to play multiple games to get the whole picture. Like in the Mass Effect series, it's an RPG.
Yeah.
It counts.
Okay.
I don't. I lose interest like right away just because I know there's so much of it, and I have to pay attention through all of it to get the whole thing. In a game that's all one package like Persona again, it's almost like I'm watching an anime series, like a season or a movie or something.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's gonna begin and end, and it's not related to anything else, and I'll take everything from it.
I think
that's better for me.
I think overall, like a game like Kingdom Hearts is very successful. I think some people are super into that, but I think it makes that initial commitment harder to take. Like if you
Definitely.
know that the game has this super complex story, you're going to play through the first one, you're not going to know all the details. It might make it a little daunting to get into it in the first place. You're like, oh, I want to play Kingdom Hearts. It looks fun, but I know that the story's super complex that I'm going to have to play 100 hours in order to understand it. Maybe that's kind of what drives just skip. All right, fine. If I'm not going to understand it in one game, I'm just going to skip everything. I'm just going to do gameplay.
Right.
Maybe that's kind of thing.
Honestly, too, a big reason why I skip all these stories is none of them are good. I've never seen a good story where I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I paid attention through all that. Even, I played through The Last of Us and everything, and like, it's good. But it's not as good as a lot of movies or anything like that. I don't feel like I missed a whole lot if I just skipped everything.
See, I kind of disagree. I think some games do have good stories. It's not that the actual storytelling itself is that good. It's like kind of a combination of the gameplay and the storytelling. Like, okay, I got to this point and I did all this hard work to get here. I think that kind of gives it a little more than just the story is providing. You know what I'm kind of saying with that?
I'm definitely more into like the characters themselves than the actual overarching story of everything. Like why they're doing things I don't really care about, but like what they're saying to each other matters a lot more to me.
I think that's kind of a double-edged sword because you have, like, for example, games like the Tales series, the Tales of series. Right, we'll get like a really good game like Tales Symphonia or Fantasia, stuff like that, where the characters are likable for the most part, and they're good story, and then it's like good character interactions. But then we get like Tales of the Abyss, right? Which, if you ever played that game, if you got through the first couple of hours, you would hate that main character. He's annoying.
But I hated Lloyd too, and Symphonia.
Yeah, but there were some good characters in there. There were some interesting relationships. In Abyss, the whole time, I'm just like, what's wrong with this guy? Why am I playing this? Like, this guy's just a douchebag. I don't want to listen to this anymore. I just want to do the combat. I think that kind of killed a lot of the Tales games. And I haven't played all of them, but a lot of the newer ones kind of had the same issues. They're like, oh yeah, combat's great. They improved the combat. There's new moves. It's fun. But the main character sucks. I think it's kind of hard for them.
Tales is totally a game I am spamming A. It's a terrible story. The characters, I hate all the characters pretty much. And but the gameplay's so good. It's so beautiful. And it's engaging even though I don't know what's going on.
So this might be minor spoiler for someone who hasn't played for Tales of Symphonia. So if you haven't, maybe you should tune out for a couple minutes. But Tales of Symphonia, I like the story. You start out like you're kind of guarding Colette, and her father's supposed to be an angel, and then you find out that the angels are actually douchebags, and they're just using you. Like, when that happened, like, I was a younger kid, maybe middle school, something like that. I, like, dropped the controller, shit my pants. I'm like, oh my god, they've been lying to me. You know, it was like I was into that story, and that made that game better. And then when I went later on and played Tales of the Abyss, I was so disappointed because I thought Tales had kind of been known for like good storytelling. I mean, Tales in the name. Like, I want to hear a tale. I don't want to, you know. How do you have a bad story in a game that's called Tales of? You know, it kind of.
See, I don't like all that. Like, oh, he tricked you, and now this and this twist. I like the kind of, yeah, like I like that he's like protecting Colette, and they're on this quest to do whatever.
I guess that's more of a traditional RPG stance. Like, where the games were simpler. And it was just like, okay, go beat the bad guy. Like, kind of like Zelda. There's no real story in Zelda.
When you boil it down, it's all a Zelda story. And that's kind of what all I need to do is like, oh, there's a bad guy and I have to kill it. That's it. I'm set. Like, that's my drive. I can do the whole game just knowing that there's a bad guy at the end I have to kill. I don't need all the other
I guess
twists.
that works if you have a good gameplay system that's fun and engaging. If it's not, then the story better make up for it. If it also doesn't make up for it, then forget it. It's a failure. I guess that's kind of how RPGs go.
I mean, that's kind of like, not that it's an RPG, but The Last of Us was kind of like that for me. Like, I wasn't really having fun with the game, but I really wanted to see the next cutscene. That was one of the games where I didn't skip it. I wanted to see the character interaction. Mm-hmm. It was all good.
I mean, they can either. I think if the gameplay's good enough, the story can be forgiven, or if the gameplay's bad and the story's really good, then the gameplay can be forgiven. I think it's harder to forgive the gameplay, but
yeah, definitely.
It's easier to forgive the story than it is to forgive the gameplay, I guess.
Yeah,
it boils down to.
Yeah, I'm very forgiving with stories. I expect garbage in every game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that is what we should expect. Maybe we're kind of wrong to think that they're supposed to be good.
I don't think games are a good medium at all for telling stories. It's just...
Maybe that's kind of a... I mean, I'm sure some people are going to be mad at you for saying that. They're like, oh, what about this game and all this stuff.
Yeah,
but I guess that's what you're playing for.
Well, like games like The Walking Dead, where the whole point of that thing is just you're going to be watching cutscenes every second. Like, the whole thing is a cutscene, basically.
Well, that's a telltale game. That's a
that's
point-and-click adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if that's the thing with that game, that's different. But I'm playing these RPGs and these like adventure games to have fun, I guess.
You're playing for the gameplay.
I'm playing for the gameplay. Which, I mean, The Walking Dead, the gameplay is like the cutscenes and decision-making, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I think I do. I think our viewers will know as well.
Yeah.
All two of them.
Yeah. I'm not going to watch it. You're going to watch it. It's going to be one of them.
All right, one viewer. Maybe my mother will watch it too. We'll see. All right, I think we spent enough time on stories. Let's move on. We'll do one more question.
All right.
I think you came up with this one. Is do you prefer open world games or more linear games, or combination, or what? What is your preference?
Well, for RPGs, I definitely prefer the more open, the better. If you let me go, I'm having a good time, kind of thing.
So you like games like Skyrim? I guess that's the most popular example. Open world RPG like that would be Skyrim, Oblivion, those Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I don't like the Final Fantasy games, which are all pretty linear. Yeah, you can I guess they have a world map sometimes. I like Final Fantasy X didn't. That was a very, very linear game, and I still really liked it. But overall, I definitely prefer choices for where to go, and I like to dilly-dally in games, so open world definitely caters more to that.
See, I personally like a more linear storyline, but I want the option of kind of straying off into something. For example,
sure.
Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is a super linear game. Like, there's a few things you can do that are not on the main storyline, like getting heart pieces and stuff, but that's really the extent of it.
You can still dilly-dally. You can still explore the whole
but
thing.
They don't close off like Hylia and say you can't go here until this happens. You can go there and you're not going to be able to do anything, but they let you figure that out on your own. Like, okay, yeah, you went here.
They definitely hold back the Zelda games. They definitely don't let you everywhere right off the gate.
Yeah, well, they let you kind of explore the entrances to all these places.
Yeah.
They don't let you go inside.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I remember going to Lake Hylia and being like, ooh, something sometime is going to happen here. But for now, I'm just going to kit this grass and talk to the scarecrow, you know? Like, that was
Right.
kind of fun. But in essence, the game was linear. Like, it told you, okay, you have to go to Death Mountain. Okay, now you go to the Forest Temple. You know, like, it kind of laid it out for you, but gave you the option to kind of dilly-dally and go around.
Right.
That's
I
why
mean, even games like Skyrim, if you're going to follow the storyline, there's just one mission after another, and you can't do, mission 10 before you do mission 9. So it's still linear, but there's a lot more room for that dilly-dallying.
But you can also, in that game, you can just kind of, like, leave the area you start in and never do the story. And you can play a full game.
Well, I mean, you could say you could do that in Zelda, too. I guess not. I don't know.
Well, you can't, because you can never go in the Forest Temple or whatever.
Right.
Or any temple, which is the bulk of the game.
I think, well, then you have games like Wind Waker, where it's basically all one just big open world with little doors scattered across that you can't enter most of the time.
It's true. I'm even willing to lose that kind of dilly-dally for more linear. In some cases, I like the linear. Now that I have like so many games and I play so many, if a game like Elder Scrolls something has no goal, I never feel like I'm really ready to like put it down and say, okay, I beat this one. Let me play the next one. Maybe it's just personal preference, but I kind of like
that's what I like about it.
Checking off the list and kind of moving to the next one. I'm not too into the let's dilly-dally in this one for an extra 100 hours when it's not.
I like spending the extra 100 hours in a game I really enjoy. You can't really do that in Zeldas and Final Fantasies. You can grind, I guess, but
I mean, when I was a kid, in Zelda, I did do that, but I was kind of making it up. But I guess that's like a wonder of being a kid and being able to do that.
That's what I do in Skyrim. I just make up my own adventures.
Maybe I just grew out of it then.
Yeah, I never really grew out of that.
Like, I'm kind of, speaking of open world in Zelda, I'm kind of a little worried about this new Zelda, Breath of the Wild, because it looks very open world and very non-linear and kind of stuff. I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm keeping an open mind. I am optimistic, but I am in the back of my head a little worried about that game.
Again, if you just wanted to do the main storyline in Skyrim, you could, and it would be totally linear. Like it's just
it
go to this town.
But it wouldn't be what the game is meant to be played as. Like, I think if you're just gonna jump in Skyrim and just do the main storyline and put it down, do you really think it's worth playing? Like, is it a good RPG, or do you think it's like only really shines when you're not doing that and you're kind of going around doing your own thing?
You think Zelda's not going to be a good RPG on its own? Which if you just do the story,
that's what I'm afraid of, is that maybe too much open world is going to kind of spoil that linear story that's somewhere in there and kind of make it like not as good.
You still got your overworld, and I'm sure there's going to be a plot, to kill Ganon.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. We'll see. I kind of have faith with Zelda, believe it or not, after the last couple, but...
Yeah, they usually don't spoil anything with Zelda. Usually you do it right.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that wraps up our question section and the podcast, for that matter.
Oh, okay.
So, in general, for our normal format, this is kind of our first introduction. We're going to do something called the Game of the Week, or the RPG of the Week. And every week we're going to pick out one RPG that Jim and I are both going to play, and that's going to be a big bulk of the content on these podcasts. So, with the new news of Persona 5, we thought we'd start with Persona 3 and 4. We're going to do a double one to start out with. So look forward to that. If you would like to suggest any questions or any topics to talk about, you can message us on Twitter at JustRPG, and we'll be sure to include some of those in there. But I guess that's it for now. And be sure to check out the website at JustRPG.com and to follow us on Twitter at JustRPG, and we'll see you next week.